What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. With what's going on at Worlds as well as the fairly imbalanced Juggernaut meta, concerns are being raised about whether the current ban system, mainly the number of bans, is creating somewhat of a problem for the game. Also, just a heads up, when this video goes live, I will be streaming, so check it out with a link in the description. Anyways, right now we have, I think, 127 champions, and with 6 bans, the champions in the game to the number of bans available ratio is pretty damn small. But League actually hasn't always had 6 bans. Around the beginning of Season 1, there were 4 bans in the game instead of 6. And since the bans have changed to 6, there's been about 50 champions or so released in the game. Since the bans were changed previously, it is a relevant discussion because we know for sure that increasing the number of bans is not outside the realm of the possibilities. So the large champion pool is what we probably consider the main argument for raising the number of bans in the game. And so the main thing to consider is what exactly a ban is trying to accomplish, and how it potentially has a negative effect. And that concept is different for competitive play and for solo queue. In competitive play, bans add quite a bit of strategy into the game actually. Quite often you can try to play a certain champion or composition and use your bans to remove counter picks to that composition, and in that sense bans affect the game in a really positive way because they allow you to play a lot more strategies than you otherwise normally would be able to. However, since the champion pool is so large, teams just get relegated to banning overpowered champions, and in competitive play, that's definitely not ideal. You want bans to be about compositions, about counter picks, and about strategy rather than, okay, just ban the OP champions. And raising the bans in competitive play could cause us to see a lot more niche and off-meta picks shine through. But with more bans, you do have to think about the repercussions of target bans. Sometimes a team will try to ban out a player by using all of their bans and first picking one of their champions. And if you raise the number of bans, you force players to expand their champion pools a lot more, and that could potentially make it harder for a lot of players to succeed. On the other hand, we have solo queue, and there, since you don't really know anything about who you're playing against, you just ban champions that are overpowered pretty much every time. So in solo queue, bans are entirely just a safety net for imbalanced champions. But for solo queue, that's not that bad, because what else are you going to use bans for in solo queue? You don't really know what comp you're playing, and it's too disorganized to actually ban counter picks anyways, and honestly the game will always have overpowered champions. So the main counterpoint for solo queue is that bans impact the game negatively by making a decent amount of champions almost completely unplayable, and that's not really a good thing. Sure, bans are a decent safety net for OP champions, but making a champion unplayable in solo queue is not really a healthy thing for the game, and whether it comes from them being too weak or them being too strong and being permabanned, either way it has a negative impact on people who enjoy playing those champions. It sucks that some champs won't be playable in solo queue due to bans, but I guess it is an acceptable way to make up for the balance, and there does tend to be more than 6 OP champions in the game nowadays anyways, since the champion pool is so large, that raising the ban rate could definitely make some games a little bit less frustrating. Now the ban system is kind of just a band-aid solution, but at the very least increasing that safety net by raising the number of bans is probably going to help a lot when there seems to always be too many champions that are imbalanced. And since the champion pool is so large now, how realistic is it really for us to reach a game state where less than 6 champions are overpowered? It's probably not that realistic. Anyways, the main thing I wanted to touch on is that there are pros and cons to increasing the number of bans for both solo queue and for competitive play. It's not just a clear-cut decision. I personally believe that we should probably be able to switch to having 8 bans, but any more might be a little bit too much, and changing the ban system completely might be a little bit too wild of a change and could lead to a lot of unexpected problems. So, what do you think about the ban system in League? Leave a comment, and thanks for watching.